All right, so a word about Saturn and retrograde. Remember, we're thinking retrograde is going backward, and we will even see that within transits. You'll see that Saturn was at 19 degrees, and then it's going to go backwards, 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 and it's in retrograde until November. So look at this as an opportunity to rebuild a part of your life where something is not quite functioning or maturing the way in which you want it to. So you want to look at your transit chart and look at where is Saturn right now for you. We also want to look at Saturn. Remember, we talk about Saturn as hardships, responsibility, discipline, authority. So challenging things at this time that don't work is going to be thematic, whether we're talking about what we see in social media, whether we talk about what we see in society, whether we talk about our personal lives. Saturn in retrograde, you might have to challenge things that have been established in order to make them better. You want to make them flow. Remember, we are still dealing with Saturn in Pisces. And so there is time to adapt and move things, change things, shift things, put new restrictions. Saturn also deals with restriction. So Saturn can also be there's an area of your life that you feel restricted in. But with this retrograde energy, you have the opportunity to go back and figure out why. Retrograde energy can represent unfinished business, things that are not yet complete. If we're talking about Saturn being maturity, that means you are going back to some area of your life in which you are trying to figure out how to better formulate it, how to better structure it so that it works in your benefit. You might even notice when you're doing business, or buying things, or you're, in some shape or form, you might notice you have to call someone out a little bit more. You have to check on things a little bit more. There might be companies you do business with, and you're like, wait a minute, they didn't process this. They didn't do this. Remember, so it's retrograde. You also can reestablish some of those relationships you have. Any relationship you have with someone that's an authority figure or something that is an organization, that's a business or something of that regard, you can now, this time, you're rethinking, is this really what's for me in the long term, right? Because I've seen that a little bit, during the Saturn retrograde. I'm like, wait, I'm having to check up on things more than usual. And again, once we get Mercury retrograde in August, it's going to get a little bit, a little hectic. But we're checking up on things. Yes, like usually this company does this, or usually when I go to the store, it's like this. So you might even see things that from an organizational standpoint or in society are kind of crumbling, falling apart, because the goal here is going to be to look back at something and be like, wait a minute, we've been functioning so long like this, but this retrograde presents an opportunity to be like, wait a minute, we need to maybe go back and fix some things. We need to reorder things. We need to make sure that things are actually functional, okay? And so again, for some people, it's not going to be as serious. For some people, though, it could be something as such as you have Saturn in that 8th house in retrograde. You might be someone that you have an opportunity to fix your debt. You have an opportunity to fix bad decisions you made with your money, right? So Saturn is giving you a couple months to maybe get on a plan, get on a payment plan, whatever it is. You have Saturn on transit in your 7th house. There's some relationships, some long-term relationships, either coming back or ones that you need to work on. You need to figure out, is this what we even really need to do? Do we need to be in relationship, or do we need to be in contact, whatever the case may be, right? Saturn in 3rd, retrograde, like you're going back to relearn something. You might be adding something to what you thought you knew, because remember, Saturn can deal with this maturity, age, mentor, knowing things already. But in retrograde, it's like, you don't know as much as you thought you did. Go back and learn something else, right? So look at this as an opportunity, but you're looking at things from a structural perspective. Does it work? Does it function? Is it likely to yield results? Saturn, is it likely to be successful? Okay. And through the retrograde lens, you have a few months to work on it. You have a few months to, and so I don't want us to look at retrogrades as like, oh my goodness, the sky is falling, it's so scary. Retrogrades are an opportunity sometimes for us to take, a little bit in limbo, right? Before that energy goes back direct. And Saturn's not the only planet, right? And that's retrograde. But we have an opportunity to really understand the ways in which we are going to move forward after this phase. So really utilize this time, utilize the Saturn energy, and it's okay. It's in Saturn's in Pisces. There's something fluid in your life. There's something fluid that could change in our lives, in society, but we have to go back and examine it, and with sometimes with a harsh eye, and really look at something and call it out if it's not working. If it's not working, if it's not likely to yield results, we got to pause that and then go back to the drawing board and really see like what we need to do.